Thank you for coming out again on Saturday morning. Seems that we're having more times on Saturday morning than during the weeks. I wanted to talk a little bit about my recent visit in Brazil last week that I was there. I attended 2 meetings in Brazil that were, in my view, very important, and I believe will have far-reaching effects on the lives of the people of Latin America and the Caribbean. The first meeting was a meeting between the countries of UNISOR and the BRICS countries, mainly South American presidents and the heads of government and state of the BRICS countries. It was very useful and a successful meeting, as you would have seen in the international press. The most important was the announcement that the BRICS countries, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, decided to establish a developmental bank. The new development bank will have an initial authorized capital of $100 billion US, equivalent to that, and an initial subscribed capital of $50 billion. I believe that this is a very important step forward in international economics. I have no doubt that this bank will play an important complementary role to the other developmental banks that presently exist and that are working in many countries. Third world countries, as you probably all know, have been facing great challenges to finance important developmental projects. The new development bank was founded with the purpose of mobilizing resources for infrastructure and sustainable development projects in BRICS and other emerging and developing economies. So I think that this bank will contribute a lot to some of the challenges that developing countries face. Clearly, therefore, the people in the developing world will welcome this, for it will add to the efforts of others to fight against poverty and underdevelopment. The second meeting was one between the heads of states and governments of the CELAC countries and the President of China. This was an extremely fruitful meeting. Here we officially inaugurated the China CELAC Forum. This was a decision that the CELAC countries took to establish this relation last December in Cuba when the CELAC had the heads of governments meeting. So now we have fulfilled that decision. It is expected that the first ministerial meeting will take place in Beijing very soon. This will be a working meeting to implement some of the decisions that were taken, and most likely before the end of this year. The meeting also decided that we will work to formulate the Sino-Latin American and Caribbean cooperation plans for 2015 to 2019. This plan will include cooperation in economics, political dialogue, promote more political dialogue, trade, investment, agriculture, high and new technologies, clean and renewable energy, manufacturing, small and medium-sized enterprises, infrastructural development, culture, education, tourism, social and sustainable development, and the prevention and mitigation from natural disasters, which, as you are aware, are becoming much more frequent these days. A great emphasis has been put on the development and improvement of infrastructure to ensure smooth logistic flows, facilitating trade, and driving economic growth. In pursuit of these goals, the Chinese President, His Excellency Xi Jinping, announced several initiatives that the People's Republic of China would be taking to work towards increasing trade between China and CELAC countries. Some $500 billion will be invested in the next 10 years. The China, in trade, and hopefully that trade between China and CELAC countries will grow to about $500 billion from both sides in the next 10 years. The Chinese government will encourage and support more investments by Chinese companies in the region, setting a goal of some $250 billion in the next decade. That's investment from Chinese companies that they're doing. They promote closer cooperation between the central banks of CELAC countries and the Chinese Central Bank, and to expand the use, this is very important for third world countries, I think, to expand the use of local currencies in settling bilateral trade. So I think that this is very, very significant, and it can help. It will be great. It will be a big assistance to countries that suffer from, like right now, we in the Caribbean having a lot of problems with pressure on our dollar, pressure on our exchange rate, etc. In the area of infrastructure development, China will launch a $10 billion fund for the region's development. Further, to increase the credit line to $20 billion, it will provide another $10 billion in preferential loans to Latin American and the Caribbean countries. So these, I think, would be very welcome for Caribbean countries that are looking for investment to drive their economy. It also proposes that we launch a senior Latin American and Caribbean cooperation fund, and China has pledged a contribution of $5 billion to that initiative. China will also launch a $50 million special fund for agricultural cooperation, technology development, etc. In promoting more people-to-people contacts and developing the human capital, China will provide 6,000 government scholarships to Latin American and the Caribbean countries in the coming 5 years. And I think we're very well placed to take advantage of that. You know, at the University of Guyana now, we have these facilities where Mandarin could be learned, so you can probably even study that. Young people can study that, even who would be interested in taking up some of these scholarships when they are made available. I believe that these are extremely important initiatives and offer the region additional sources of developmental assistance. I said I think that these meetings were historic. I really don't like to use those words lightly, and I normally would like history to determine those things, but I think that this was such an important meeting that I can risk using the word historic, even though it's just at the beginning of the process. And can make a major contribution to our region's effort to improve the quality of life of our peoples. The meeting also provided an opportunity to renew and further strengthen our fraternal relations with the other countries in attendance. In this regard, bilateral discussions were had, in particular with the President of China and the Prime Minister of India, during which the warm relations between our countries was reiterated. Appreciation expressed for cooperation initiatives implemented thus far and possibilities to examine for the future cooperation, similar type of action. Similar discussions were also had with other heads of government in attendance. So I think that the visit to Brazil was, can very well bring a lot of benefits to our region and in particular, and for our country as well. I would like to touch on one other subject before I open the floor to your questions. I have noticed that the Speaker of the National Assembly decided to send Ashni Singh's case to the Privileges Committee. I would like to make the following points. One, Ashni Singh was not acting on his own. This was a decision of the cabinet of which I chair. The Parliament went through this process in 2012 and 2013. So this is not something new. The very Speaker participated in this process in 2012 and 2013, along with other members of the Parliament. And in 2012, we even had a discussion and a decision of the Constitutional Court on this matter. So there is no question about illegality and unconstitutionality of the actions that were taken. These were things that were ruled upon already. Therefore, at all times, we have been working legally and within the framework of our Constitution. What are the monies that we are trying to restore? What are we trying to restore? School vouchers, so that children can be outfitted in time for the new school year. Parents can have their money to outfit their children in school uniforms to go to school for the new school year. This is what we're trying to put back, what was cut from the budget. And I would like to ask if we should deprive our children from this facility and not to have them outfitted and assist, particularly the low-income families in this regard. The Amerindian Development Fund. Everyone knows that since this government came into office, we were trying to create all the possibilities so that we can have in the interior a more rapid development so that we can catch up, they can catch up with the rest of the people on the coastline. And these funds are to strengthen the village economies. This is what these funds are aimed at, strengthening the village economies so that the people in the interior, particularly the Amerindian community, can grow faster. Should we deprive that? Should we deprive the people of that? They have been historically the most neglected people in this country. Air travel to the interior. We have to fix our airstrips. Safe air travel is important for the people who live in the interior in the first instance, who use that. It's a lifeline for them to get all their goods into the area. And also, it is important if we want to promote tourism that we talk so much about. Because in some of these places, it's inaccessible by other forms of transport. And even those that are accessible by river or land transport, the time is very, very long. You can drive from here, right? I'm proud to say that you can drive from here to Orinduik, but it will take you a few days to get there. And maybe a tourist will not have that amount of time, or a business person who is here and wants to have a day off. I don't think he cannot go otherwise. And therefore, we need to have safe traveling in our interior. And this is what some of this money is for. Providing the students at University of Guyana with money for student loans. This is what we're putting back. Should we not give the students loans so that they can have a tertiary education, while we all know that while it helps the individual person to develop their all-round character, it's a big contribution, it's an investment in our future. If we talk about science and technology and its importance in modern-day economics and economies, we have to have the human capital to deal with it. So should we deprive our young students, our students, and not so young, from having access to student loan? So I think these are only a few of some of the critical area where we need to have so that it will not obstruct the smooth functioning of our society and not obstruct the welfare of the Guyanese people as a whole. I just want to say that while I found the ruling rather strange because, as I said, the Speaker participated in this process 2 years in a row before this one. 2 years in a row he participated, and he is a lawyer, and he had, the opposition likes to talk about the rule of law and operating within the confines of the law, but we have a decision of the Constitutional Court on this matter, and yet we have such a ruling. But I haven't heard him saying anything. I think the PPP civic side wrote to the Speaker, I haven't heard him comment on it, to take 2 members to the Privileges Committee as well, Kemraj Ramjatan and Cathy Hughes, for conflict of interest in relation and pecuniary interest for not announcing their interest in the Amila Falls area and in the building of the hospital, the specialty hospital. Well, what this tells me, because a lot of people talk about professionalism, and no matter what your political belief or your religious belief, that you must be able to act professionally. But it seems to me that this Speaker coming from the opposition benches, with all of these facts staring you straight in the face, I don't know how we can say that he's acting professionally in that regard. So these are the 2 issues that I would like to deal with, and I open the floor now to for your questions. Who's starting? All right. You always open the bowl in. Yeah.
Gary Elias, the Kite News. Sir, if we could start on the Speaker's ruling. The Minister is relying on Article 218(3)(b) to justify the spending. I'm wondering, apart from the Attorney General and other in close government circles, who else you would have consulted with on the interpretation of 218(3)(b)? Because everybody else seems to have a different interpretation of what that means.
Well, the court will finally decide who is right, but as far as I'm concerned, the Attorney General is the authority in this regard, and then the other person who will have the final say on this would be a court. So not a question of who I consulted. There's not a question of consultation. These are things that has happened, Chief. We had in 2012, this thing took place. We went to the court. We had a ruling of the court. You ask me this question continuously, but you yourself seems to want to ignore the ruling of the court.
No, the court didn't interpret 218(3)(b).
Yes, what the court said, because the case that was taken to the judge was him to rule that Ashni Singh must put back this money. And he said, I don't have to rule in that way because Ashni Singh has the power to do so. I don't have to give him the power. He has the power to do so. That was the ruling. You must read the ruling again. And that was his ruling. Yes, you want to follow up on that? Yeah, come.
My question, sir, has to do with the separation of powers.
Yeah.
There is the executive
that
will include you, Ashni, and the Attorney General.
Yeah.
And then there is, and then there is the Parliament. Now there is one argument that the executive is trying to invoke the powers of the court, further upsetting the question of separation of powers as it relates to parliamentary rulings.
That is a total misrepresentation. As you know, all 3 branches of government operate within the framework of the Constitution. The Constitution is what is the overarching body in all of this. And it's the Constitution that recognizes the different roles of the different branches of government, okay? And it is the role of the court to interpret the Constitution, to say if the Parliament or if the executive is acting, they are the final arbiter to interpret the Constitution. So this is no question of us using one branch again. This is total nonsense. I will say absolute nonsense. And I hope it's not a lawyer who's making that argument, because he will not be fit to take any case to the court. So it's total nonsense, I think that is. Yeah.
Vanessa Narayan, Guyana Chronicle. Mr. President, my question has to deal with comments that the Leader of the Opposition made regarding the Privileges Committee. What he's saying is that the combined opposition is taking 4 routes: going to the police, going to the Privileges Committee, the no-confidence motion, and also the possibility of going to court. Now, the AG had made comments saying that, look, this is what we want. We want for them to go to court. The fact that the opposition leader has said that they will consider going to the court, is that...
yeah, that's a good news. Okay. That's good news that he's going to the court, because that's the proper place to go. That's the proper place to go. That's where he should go. Yeah. Yes.
Good morning, Mr. President.
You're from which media?
NCN.
Okay.
NCN. This question
I'm not so familiar with everybody in the state media, you know, yeah.
Okay, yeah. This question has to do with some comments that were made last evening at the PNC Biennial Congress.
Yeah.
The opposition leader, Mr. Greenidge, is accusing the government, rather, of not partaking in inclusionary democracy. Mm-hmm. What is your take on that?
I think that he's turning the argument around. I think I explained to you, the members of the media, before, like when I got into the government, how much I consulted on various projects, what I did, the extent I made. So I think it's the other way around, that we have been always seeking to have closer cooperation. We've been seeking to have more inclusion. Sometimes when we thought we had it, and then we realized that the opposition changed their views. So I think the opposition leader probably is obviously speaking to his crowd to pump them up and so on and so forth. But he's not exactly correct in what he's saying, that we have been reaching out and we have been working very, very hard to try to have more inclusionary government, more participation, more consultation. I mean, I went so far to give them things that were commercially confidential on the Amila Falls project. And I said, I'm giving you this because these are things that are still commercially confidential, but I'm giving it to you long before it became public. So how much more do you, I mean, of course, I'm always ready. My door has never been closed. It's always open for discussion and dialogue. But it's not, we are not the ones that are spawning inclusionary government.
Mr. President, on the same issue, if I can ask, Mr. Greenidge's words on that same issue last night was that progress has been impeded by the central government's authoritarian attitude. He said that the government we have now is a Ramoterian autocracy.
Okay. That's very far from the truth. To say that we have been acting in a authoritarian way. I don't know how anyone who live in this country, they got to be extremely biased to take such a position. But as I said, I understand that Mr. Greenidge is speaking to a strongly partisan crowd. So maybe he's trying to pump some enthusiasm into them. Yes.
Good morning, sir. Lotari Jayas, Kaishore News. The Marriott Hotel was expected to be the Marriott Hotel was expected to be completed this month, and clearly that deadline would not be met. Could you say if there's cost overruns for that project, and if so, how much?
I don't know. I don't have that with me. I'm sorry. I would not be able to answer you. I didn't anticipate that question, so I don't have that information with me.
Okay.
But I'm sure that it won't be difficult to get that. If you ask, like I see the Minister of Finance have been having regular press conferences with you now. So I'm sure that you can get that information from them or from the sailors anywhere else.
Okay, so a second question. The NCN report, this is actually a fourth press.
You have taken up the mantle from my friend from Starbuck News.
Yes, we're playing tag with it. Have you walked with any information to...
You will have it. Let me make this point. All the time I was laboring under the impression that this thing was not made public. Mm-hmm. But I understand it was on the GINA website for a long time until the GINA website was hacked and it came down, and I understand it's back up again. It's up on the GINA website right now. But you see, you're so biased, you don't look at the video.
I'm not biased.
Mr. President, good morning.
That's only a shot. But so it's up on the GINA website. As I understand, it's up on the GINA website right now. But it also will be announced later on some of these issues.
Mr. President, good morning. Gordon Mosley, News Source. Sir, we're hearing a lot of talk. News Source, gy.com. Check it out.
Okay, good. Yeah, like the NCM thing, I got to check. But you can excuse me. I don't always get the time to
yeah, I understand that. Sir, but we're talking about, we're hearing a lot of talk, about non-local government elections, about snap elections. Sir, while we hear the PPP at their press conferences saying they're ready for any elections, we're hearing the government official spokesman, Dr. Luncheon, raising serious concerns about the readiness of GCOM. Sir, could you say what exactly is the government's position if we are forced into those elections? And could you say whether or not you're confident of being the presidential candidate for the PPP leading into any snap elections?
All right. The first issue of, we have said that we are ready, and we have to be ready. And we have to always be ready for any elections because of the fact that we do not have, we have a one-seat minority in the parliament. The joint opposition got one seat more than us. Therefore, it means that at any time they can pass a no-confidence motion. So therefore, from that point of view, we have to always be ready for any election. So that answers that aspect. The second question, as far as GCOM's readiness is concerned, that's a debate that is raised, and I don't want to get involved in it, but just to say that if GCOM itself is saying that from the time when you're announcing local government or elections, we need 6 months. Well, you tell me how prepared they are. That's how I will answer. They themselves have said so, that they need 6 months.
And if there's not elections, you as the presidential candidate, are you confident?
Well, that has not, no, I haven't seen any reason why not. That question has not arisen anywhere.
Do you believe you will be the candidate?
The question has not arisen. Nothing has arisen. Nothing like that has ever arisen. Yes.
Mr. President, Marcel Thomas, Star Rock News. The first question is, you said there was a meeting also with UNISER members. I'm asking for an update on the Guyana-Venezuela delimitation talks. Has Guyana been able to set a date with the Venezuelans on when talks will resume on this issue?
As far as I know at the moment, they had one set of meeting already that was after they had the meeting in Trinidad. There was one other set of meeting. I'm not sure of. I can't give you a definitive answer on that offhand, but I can get that.
And they had said that they would meet again in 3 months, and that's long elapsed. And that was attributed to
they had a meeting not so long ago.
In Venezuela.
They had a meeting not so long ago. They had a meeting less than 3 months ago. The Guyana Venezuela side had a meeting. I think we were represented by some of the people, the specialists, the technical people, the specialists we had, and the DG at that meeting. Yes.
And
let me see this young
on your opening, when there was the meeting in Brazil, was the Guyana-Brazil road discussed? And will that be a part of the funding that the Chinese will be providing?
Well, these are initial announcements the Chinese made about funds that will be made available to the region as a whole. So now that these announcements have been made, then they will start doing some programming differently. We have options that we are still in discussions with the Brazilians on that road, but the good thing is that we have options.
And a status on the Brazil road, do you have?
No, that's what I'm saying, that we were talking to the Brazilians about that road. We were working with them. I think a meeting will be held this week, again in Georgetown, to discuss our whole working relationship, the joint working group. But what I'm saying is, it's now with this kind of information that we're having from China, that the Chinese are willing to put in, it creates more options for us in some ways.
Sir, final question for me. You spoke about conflict of interest with Cathy Hughes and Kemra Ramjitan. There's been criticism about your government, with the Chinese again, in negotiating for Guyanese to be part of contracts given here, either human resource or companies to be given contracts where they're excluded.
Which company is that you want to be?
We're talking about, let's give example, East Coast Demerara Road, where only Chinese companies were selected for that process.
Because you must understand why. Let me just stop you before you take the plunge into all kind of uncertainty.
No.
Let me make the point.
The criticism has
the
been
money
that
is coming.
Poor
the money
negotiators.
No.
When it comes to the money
all
giving.
over the world it happens, and all over the area it happens. The money is coming from China. It's a Chinese Exim Bank that it's coming from. So they want, just like many times, if you have a bilateral relationship with any of the Western country, they want their country to do it. So the money is coming from the Chinese Exim Bank, and so it was open to Chinese companies, like IDB. When IDB got a project, it's open to countries who belong to the IDB. Only companies from countries that belong to the IDB can bid. India cannot bid for IDB contracts. Indian companies cannot bid for IDB contracts. Or CDB, they can't bid for those contracts because they're not part of those bodies. So this is a Chinese money, Chinese loan. So it is going to the Chinese company. That is why.
But in our negotiations, sir, should we try to ensure that even the subcontractors are Guyanese, where we giving some of that money
We don't have any
Guyanese?
subcontractors. We're not giving subcontractors there. If there's a subcontractor, that's a private arrangement. That doesn't have to do with the government. We give a contractor a job to get it done within a certain time and a certain price, and we expect it to be done. And that's how it works. It's not that anything with poor negotiation. I think we have some of the best negotiators, actually.
Morning, sir. Tracy Romalo from NCN. With the new international bank on stream, or has been established, will your administration, will the government be seeking the assistance of that financial institution and hence forfeiting relations with the IMF and the World Bank in the future?
Yeah, sure. I mean, all I'm saying is that this is, if you listen to me very carefully, I was not seeing this as an alternative. I was seeing it as a complementary something, that it gives us more option. So yes, I mean, of course, this is a bank that is now starting. They haven't given a single loan, even to a BRIC country. But it is beginning, and they said that, I quoted a part of their statement from Fortaleza, where they said that it will not only be for lending to BRIC countries, but they're looking to assist third world countries with infrastructural development. So obviously, we will be looking for projects that we can have. But we don't have anything concrete now. This is something new. This is a new possibility that is developed. The bank itself, a decision has been taken to establish the bank. There's some concrete decision, but it is not yet in operation. It will be headquartered in Beijing. The chairman of the board will be from Russia. The first CEO will be from India. Those are some of the decisions that are being made. So let's wait. Let's not jump the gun so fast yet. Okay?
Another question. How concerned are you that the Parliamentary Committee on the anti-money laundering bill has not been able to meet us yet?
Extremely concerned.
And now, we're going into recess.
Extremely concerned about that. As you said, that is very, very, as you probably note, that is very, very important for us because it slows down the time in doing business with our country and so on and so forth. So it's a very serious issue, and I'm surprised that anyone who got the interests of this country at heart, as I've said earlier, will want to pass such a bill. But in the meantime, we're still pushing ahead to do all the non-legislative things that we have to do as far as establishing the anti-money laundering operation. We're setting up the investigative body, et cetera, et cetera. We're moving in that direction and trying to move as fast as we can. Yeah, yes.
Mr. President, just a question a little bit of the
topic that we're discussing. Could you say what is your position on the situation with Palestine and Gaza?
All right. Can I come back? Let me just exhaust this issue, and I'll answer you. But let me exhaust this first. On these issues?
Mr. President, Darren Wills of the Guyana Chronicle. Moving back to the PNCR 18 Biennial Congress yesterday, the leader of the opposition would have made claims that Guyana's economic development has been impeded, and he noted that its international competitiveness has also been impaired. Now, what I want to know is that considering him citing a lack of investor confidence as well as a lack of, international competitiveness, how does AML and Hydro tie into these issues?
Well, that was going to be my answer to you. The first instance, I haven't seen his speeches yet to look at it and analyze it. So I'm just going on what you were saying me that he said. I'm surprised that he will make such a statement because he can help a lot in that regard by, first of all, passing the anti-money laundering bill. He can help a lot. As far as investors' confidence is concerned, that is totally not true. We have been having, if you look at the investments that we've been having in our country and the interest that we were having, it's very, very high. So I think he's wrong in the one count about investors' confidence. I think investors' confidence is extremely high. And he can help. He is impeding some of these issues that we can move much faster on by not wanting to support the anti-money laundering bill. Yeah.
Sir, I want to take you down the road of pre-qualification.
Don't carry me down
Sir, on pre-qualification, we have noticed that the new GPC has emerged as the sole pre-qualified entity to supply drugs. Mm-hmm. And there were many other applicants, Ansa McCall, IPA, who all claimed that they also met the criteria. Could you say why was GPC not shortlisted, appointed, and why weren't the others notified that they were not qualified?
Well, this was purely a technical thing. This had nothing to do with any. They had an evaluation team. I think they probably had criteria and what they're basing their decisions on. So this was not done at the cabinet. This was done at the level of the tender board and with technical people and so forth. So I saw in the press that there has been some type of concern, so I suspect that they have the right to make appeal, and that could be reviewed.
Sir, a follow-up. With one company being pre-qualified to supply drugs, what is there in place to ensure that there isn't overpricing? Because with one company being the supplier, there's no room for competitive pricing. And could you say why is it the criteria was not set in such a way that at least two companies would be pre-qualified to ensure competitive pricing?
But you see, you can't want it in cake and want it in bake either, you know. If you have criteria, I mean, I'm just making a general answer here, okay? These are, you should direct your question to the tender board and this type of areas. But if they have criteria to follow, and they follow the criteria, and this is what they come up with, but you still are now suggesting that they should bend the rules a little bit to give somebody else, involve somebody else. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying bend the rules. The ministry changed the criteria recently. So I'm saying, why is it a situation?
The changing of the criteria, should it drop the standards?
No, I'm not saying drop the standards. At least allow for two companies.
If you're allowing two companies and only one company reaches standard, what you're implying that we should drop the standards, and that's a serious issue when you talk about the health of people.
Coming back to the first
because
question.
you know, there's also a lot of concern about some of the type of drugs that we've been getting in the country and so on and so forth. So I can't give you. We can only talk on the principle of thing at this point in time. But the other companies have the right to appeal if they want to do so.
No, but you're still to answer, what is there to prevent overpricing? Because now there's no room for competitive pricing.
No, okay, well, I mean, I see that point. But then you have to also probably you have to probably judge from the point of view of whether you have the danger of the quality of drugs or what you're getting compared to other things. That is something also you have to take into consideration. But maybe the thing we have to do is probably encourage broader participation, get more people to apply, get more people up their standard, and maybe hopefully that the next time some of those who probably didn't reach the criteria will meet them, and we will have more people in that way. Yes.
Mr. President, Robert Sutherland, Starbuck News. The latest census figures indicate that migration continues to be very high. What does this say about the performance of the PPP government, and what is government trying to do to stem migration?
Well, you know why migration is high in our country? It's not that it started today. Migration started pretty heavily in the 60s. A lot of the migrants are economic migrants who left in the 70s and 80s. Families have been divided. And it seems to me that when families are deciding to reunite, they want to reunite in the more developed type of societies. What is important for me, right? What we will continue to try to do to stem the migration tide is to continue to build and develop the economy, to make it stronger, to continue with our social programs, and give people a better quality of life. That's what we're working for, to try to stem the migration. But what is most important for me, that there is no migration because of political persecution and political violation of people's human rights. Those are the things that are important for me. Migration is an issue all over the world. You know, they have now more Ethiopian doctors in Chicago, not the whole of the United States, in Chicago, than they have in Ethiopia. So migration is a big issue all over the place. And it's unfair, let me answer this young lady's question, because we seem to be deviated now from what, and I promised her to answer her, to try to exhaust answers. So I suspect that these are exhausted. Eh?
No, sir, I have just a couple more questions. Is the failure to hold local government elections one of the worst departures from the Chadi Jagan legacy?
With what?
The failure to hold local government elections. Is that one of the worst departures from the Chadi Jagan legacy?
Well, let me put it this way. Chadi Jagan would have loved to have the elections periodically and on time. So would I, and so would the PPP. But you explained, I don't want to go back over what I've said to you before, why elections were held up from 1994. And from 1994, and I see that you're not even saying anything. Your paper constantly putting their bylines about local government elections. But up to 2010, it was the opposition, the PNC, that asked for the postponement of the elections. So your question is a little bit unfair in that regard, because I have dealt with this matter over and over of what has happened since 1994, that the elections were not held. This is not a question of the unwillingness to hold the elections, but the question of some of the circumstances that we have. But I hope that we will overcome that, and the holding of the election will stop these questions. So let's hope that that will come in due time.
Sir, just one final question. Will the Norway Agreement survive the likely increase in deforestation as a result of the opening of new minor lands?
Well, we got to look at better ways of doing things, right? We have to look at better ways of doing things. We have a big, more and more development in science and technology. Maybe there's things that we can do so that we don't stop the economic activity that a lot of people are dependent on, while at the same time minimizing the reduction of the forest. So yes, I would say I think it will survive, but we ourselves have got to do much more in trying to minimize some of the impact on our environment.
So just one thing, the NCN report, you mentioned it, but the report was released, but you had said that you'd reveal the actions that you would take and not the report. So what actions?
Okay, well, the question is, you sometimes ask me questions about governance and so forth and procedures. But you know the NCN has a board, right? And boards are established. There are certain functions that a board will have. So let's first of all deal with it at the level of the board before, and let me look at that and see what will happen. All right?
It's been dealt with at the level of the board already, and you said you would take some actions, and it's been 2 years.
The board had sent a report to me. All the board sent a report to me. They didn't make any recommendation or so forth. All right? Yeah, let me answer you now, ma'am, about the, I think that the situation there is really horrible from a humanitarian point of view. It's a horrible situation. I think more than 700 Palestinians have died now, mainly women and children, almost all civilian people that have died. And this is a tremendous blotch to the conscience of human beings all over the world, to have something like this taking place. This is an apartheid situation that exists, and the relationship that exists in Palestinian and Israeli, it's an apartheid situation that exists there. It's an unacceptable situation. It's a terrible violation of the worst kind of violation of human rights that is existing at this point in time, and we condemn this most vehemently. And to see something like this is happening in our 21st century in the world.
Mr. President, then Shibal Sir, a quick follow-up on Mr. Sutherland's question, and then about 2 or 3 of mine. With respect to the census, how do you believe the migration patterns will impact on the PVP's electoral fortunes at the next general election? And do you still believe there is hoarding of gold?
First of all, I never said, when you said still believe, did I ever say there's hoarding of gold?
You did say so at the previous press conference.
Did I say that? Really? I didn't remember saying that. What I was saying that there was a falling in declaration, but at that time I didn't see. Maybe implicit in what I said.
You said it was due to hoarding.
I did? Okay. Okay, you see when you got me in these situation, but as far as I see, is that probably the price is having an impact on these things, and probably there's delayed declaration. I would say probably there's delayed declaration.
Is that a euphemism for hoarding?
Because don't put words in my. I'm saying you don't understand English, right? But I say, don't tell me what I was to say. I said probably there's delayed declaration in some instance. As far as the other question is concerned, the PPP has always been making broad appeals to the population. We don't make. I'm sure that you could go back into our history even before the party was formed and go to the pre-party formation in 1946, right to the present day. And you will see that the PPP has always been making broad appeals. We have not been ever been making narrow appeals to the Guyanese people. We are confident in our policies. We are confident in our achievements. We have a record to stand on. So yes, I am confident that we will win the next election and we will regain the majority in the parliament.
But your broad appeals resulted in you losing the majority.
The what?
Your broad appeals that you refer to did not yield the simple parliamentary majority.
I don't think that's a simplistic.
It was not due to migration in part.
That was a simplistic interpretation, but I would say that is not the whole story. It wasn't
due to migration.
No. I don't think so. I don't think that we. But let me rephrase it. The PPP constantly work with every section of the Guyanese people. We would like ideally to have 100% support of the Guyanese people behind us, but that probably being a great ideal, and it might not ever be possible. But we continue to work to convince the majority of Guyanese people that our policies are the best for Guyana, and our record will show that whenever we have been in government, we have always outperformed either the last non-PPP government or the colonial people who were here before. We have done far more than all of them.
Mr. President, could you confirm that you have been considering a cabinet reshuffle?
Why, if I confirm what? Where you heard that from? I can.
Have you been?
Whenever I decide that, I'll let you know. You'll be first to know.
And it's not, the delay is not due to differences between yourself and your predecessor?
Who is that? I have a difference with my predecessor.
No, I'm asking.
No, don't speculate.
And sir,
you seem to be looking for news.
Sir, quickly, is the former president at all lobbying for investment, and to what extent might that be a conflict of interest given the fact that he's been aligned to certain investors?
I don't know what you're talking about the former president, but I respect any patriotic Guyanese, whether they have been former president and whether they be former journalists. I expect that once they love the country, they will be lobbying for investment to our country.
You would consider Sun and Sand to be a conflict?
You wouldn't want to encourage businesses to come to Guyana?
But I'm not the former president.
No, but I'm just asking you as a citizen of this country, would you try to
I think all of us would like to see the country develop.
So I think you answer your question.
So, sir, is there a conflict of interest with Sun and Sand and the UGPC as it relates to the former president? Is there a conflict of interest, in your view, between Mr. Jagdeo and Sun and Sand and the UGPC?
I don't know of any. If you know of any, you let me know. I don't know of any about that.
You don't think he's
I don't know of any.
Okay.
Kiana will work Kaiser News. Mr. President, there was a move to cap the former president's benefits. Why haven't you assented to this bill?
I haven't seen any bill like that. But I think it's a question of principle too, right? It's a question of principle too. I don't think, first of all, I think anything like that can be challenged constitutionally. I believe so, and I can probably confirm that with legal opinion and so forth, that it can be challenged. Those things can be challenged in a court of law. I don't think that, I think that these things could be, if I am right, but I'm not pretending to be a lawyer, but I think those things could be seen as property. Those things could be seen as property and it could be challenged. But further I say not on this issue. I will need more legal advice on that.
Quick follow-up. What she's saying, we can't cap the benefits that President Barra Jagdeo gets, but we can cap succeeding presidents, for example, in your case. Would you assent to a bill?
Let me think about that. I haven't considered that. That never crossed my mind before, so that will need some consideration.
And my second question.
Sorry. No, we have the Chinese coming with a lot of money. And we've had experience with the colonials coming with money, and they say
No. Our experience with the colonial was the very opposite. They came with very little money.
But he who pays the piper calls the tune. Are our regional governments looking at the Chinese as potentially the new colonialists?
No, I don't think so. I think that a lot of it also, there's several things. I don't think that is going to happen. I don't think that is my own view. I don't think that is the intention of the Chinese. And thirdly, I think a lot of it has to do with our enforcing our laws, etc., etc. And moreover, why I said it in my statement at the very beginning is that we have options. There are other options now, broader options, that allow us a greater degree of freedom to operate. So I am not afraid of that. I'm not worried about that.
Mr. President, Handel Duncan, HGP Nightly News. I've got a quick question. You made mention about restoration of monies for the Amerindians, and they're touted as a minor group. The LGBT group, the lesbian, gay, bisexual group. What's your government doing for that minority group? And will your government ever support laws that might seek to revert the ones that we currently have on the law books?
Let me make, you stumped me there too, but let me make some clear. I am against any kind of discrimination as far as jobs, etc., is concerned in our society. I have no problems with this group of people. I have never had any problems with them. But I think we also have to look at the readiness of our society in some of these cases, you know. I have to, one, protect them and ensure that they're not discriminated in as far as government services is concerned. But I have to also be conscious and sensitive to the feelings and views of a lot of other sections of the people in our country.
Sir, if I,
you don't want to talk about democracy and then ask me to only take into consideration the views of one set of people.
Sir, if I could turn your...
Some of your ministers ought to be sensitive to, regardless of their religion, when they make statements about that particular community.
Well,
there was a big uproar recently with one bishop.
I saw some of it. I didn't get to the root of it, but I know sometimes the media can take things out of context. I don't know in what context they took him in, so I will look at that. Yes.
Sir, if I could turn your attention to sugar.
After, because we go wide. We go very wide.
Mr. President.
You're taking me to areas that I didn't prepare for. Yes.
Mr. President, two quick questions. Gaisuko. Gaisuko has admitted in the Parliament recently that its sugar production, the cost is almost double to what is selling on the world market. They're also saying that they would only be able to bring it down to about 25 cents within the next 4 years, which essentially means that we're being asked to plug more money into an industry which is losing money heavily. Why are Guyanese people, the taxpayers, being asked to do that at this point in time? And secondly, NDI, the surrender pumps are here, or supposed to be here. Since 3 years ago, we signed that agreement. We know of one station that you would have opened up in Berbice, but we've been told now that the other stations that were open, that it's probably not surrender pump, and there's a lot of questions whether they're actually here. Okay. Could you shed some light as to that?
All right, let me shed as much light as I can on some of these issues. The first one, Gaisuko. It's not the first time that Gaisuko has found itself in this situation, right? Because you have to realize, as we talked about before, that Gaisuko is a price taker generally, right? And so the price of sugar fluctuates up and down on the international market. What Gaisuko has been doing to try to safeguard against that is to minimize how much sugar they sell on the world market, where the price at this point in time is not very high. They're trying to compensate for the low prices on the world market by doing some value added, limited value added, like packaging, where you get a higher price in the Caribbean market and other areas, other places that they get higher prices for that. Two, they're looking at new streams of income. The whole idea is to change the industry from being a sugar industry to being more of a cane industry, and to use, for instance, at Skeldon, and we started with a cogeneration plant. Hopefully we can have more of that in looking the possibilities of having more of that in other factories at this point to outfit them with cogeneration so that we can have another source of renewable energy and that's another source of income for Gaisuko. They have a pilot project right now with ethanol to look at that. You know that they said with 10% ethanol mixed with gasoline, you don't have to change anything on your vehicle. So that could be another possibility of income stream for Gaisuko. But so we're looking at more income streams from the very products, the byproducts of sugar. For instance, 2 or 3 days ago, I visited the IAST. And I see that the work that they're doing there, like compressing bagasse, or they can compress rice husk into briquettes, no? Like wood, burn them like wood. And Gaisuko spend a lot of money in buying wood to restart the factory whenever they stop. Now, that technology can help them save money. So I think that while it is true that the world price is low, the first point you should take into consideration, it is low now, but it will not remain low. We know that it fluctuates. Actually, in 1974, the reason we didn't feel the first oil shocks was because the price of sugar was very, very high. So the price of sugar will not stay low. In fact, my anticipation is that before the end of the year, the world price could very well go up, could raise before the end of the year. Secondly, looking for value added with the whole intention of finally being able to install our own refinery here so that we can have our own refined sugar in our country. Because right now we import refined sugar for manufacturing of soft drinks and so forth. So we hope that we can do that. There's a Caribbean market that we can have in that area that can be lucrative as Gaisuco comes over this difficult restructuring period that it is under. They are also looking at other ways of cutting costs. Right now they're experimenting with new kind of fertilizer that will be much cheaper. If it proves successful, it will be a huge saving for Gaisuco, and it will be also translated into the rice industry and so forth to be a big saving as well. So there are things that they're doing, and I don't think that the first set of difficulties we should be shouting. And there's other measures, I spoke about them the last time you were here, about some of the encouraging more farmers to take up more lands where they don't have the same kind of overhead like Gaisuco. And so all of these things they're trying to overcome the difficulty that they face at this point in time. So even though the situation might look tough, and it is tough, I don't want to minimize the challenges that Gaisuco face. I have confidence that we could overcome these and move ahead, and it's worthy to support them at this point in time, because I still think that the industry has a great future in Guyana.
Sir, a quick follow-up.
Surrender, let me finish. You just waiting for your other people and you're riding on the back, man. The other thing is as it relates to that was not intended. The other thing is the surrender prompt. As far as I know, we have a program from 2012 to 2015 to have about 39 pumps in our system. 14 of them were sourced from India with India loan, Exim Bank loan. So we had to source them from India. That is how Surrender got the contract. I know that one of those pumps have been in Rose Hall. One has just been completed at Paradise. It's not yet been inaugurated, but it's completed. One is completed at Skeldon area. If I know you would have been asking this question, I would have walked with some figures on it. 6 mobile pumps exist. The pump that I think you're talking about at Potentia, is it Potentia you said? That was given to a contractor to do a complete set. It wasn't a surrender contract. I think that was given to a contractor, Tulsi, for him to provide and import the pump and everything else there. So that is not a surrender pump. But the surrender pumps are going into Canal, they're going into Windsor Forest, they're at Rose Hall, Skeldon is also completed. One is going to go to Lima. Blackbush Polder, they will have to. So you have 6 of the 14 pumps coming from India. 6 are mobile pumps that are moving they will be moving all over the country. All 6 are here. I'm not sure if all 8. I know at least I can say for sure that 4 of the other pumps are here, and the other 4, if they're not here already, they should be here in the near future.
Gaisuco.
That's it, huh? Oh, I think we agreed on that already. Should be announced this week. All right, thank you very much.